Welcome to today's mathematics class, and we shall continue looking at the algebraic expression, but this time round we want to see how algebra is applied. Earlier on, when we looked at algebra, just to remind ourselves what we were doing, we looked at algebra as simply an expression whereby we have pronumerals, and these pronumerals represent certain numbers. When these pronumerals are replaced, we normally come up with a single term. So the pronumerals in this particular case can actually represent any of the values. When we have pronumerals representing certain values or certain situation, then we shall be applying the algebra in mathematics. Now, before we move on, just to remind ourselves what we went through, we said yesterday that when we have, in the previous classes, that when we have algebra and this one is in a form of brackets, for example, 8 into a minus 4, we say this one is actually inside, we have terms inside the bracket and another one outside. We said we can simply expand this, and the process of expanding here is simply removing the brackets or eliminating the brackets, and we use what we call distributive law. And the distributive law, as we saw, it is simply all the terms outside the bracket is multiplied by the terms inside the bracket. And in this particular case, it is 8a minus simply 8 times 4. And 8 times 4 gives us 32. So this one will be 8a minus 32. That is distributive law. So in applying the algebra, in a situation where we form an expression and it gets to be of this type, it will mean that we get back to the law or distributive law and we apply it accordingly. So what exactly do we mean when we say we want to apply algebra? Now, algebra expression can be used to describe actually several problems relating to many occasions or many situations. Now, particularly here, we can use it maybe to describe cost or to describe speed or sporting events. So there is so much algebra involved in our daily lives, especially when we are referring to situations like sporting and cost and so on. Now, let us see exactly what we mean by this. I want us to look at this field and we consider how we shall generate algebra from this. So what we have here, this figure is simply for a garden. And this garden is 34 square meters. And we have actually a complete rectangle, but with a small portion cut measuring 2 by 3. Now, what expression can we use to form the area of this field? The area of a rectangle, remember, if it was complete here, it would be simple. We would say the area is simply length times breadth. That is, if it was complete, the area of a rectangle is length times breadth. But for this particular case, it is different. Why it is different is because there is a portion that has been removed. And now what remains is what gives us the area of 34 square meters. However, the small portion that has been removed, the area can be noticed because it is measuring 3 by 2, which implies that that area is simply 3 multiplied by 2, which is 6 square meters. But the expression for the area is what is very important. Now, from here to all the way to that part is what we need now to get. We know that this one is not equal to 34 square meters. It is not equal to that 4 because that 4 will only be found having removed this part, which means the length, this small part has been chopped off, which we must know. So how do we get this 34? So the 34, if we may look at it from this particular area part, we find that the full area, to get the 34, it is the full area which is length multiplied by breadth, and then minus the area of the part that is chopped off, which is simply 3 multiplied by 2. This one, when you work out this, you should be able to get 34. So what we are saying here is that this area of that 4 is simply when we have reduced or subtracted this area that was chopped off. So then it means that to get that 4, it is length times breadth, and we said yesterday that previous classes about algebra, it is always important for us to know how to combine pronumerals. We must combine them, but alphabetically. So L multiplied by B is the same as BL, and then BL minus 6 should give us 34. So this 6 is this part. BL is the area of everything without removing the part that we have removed, and that one should give us the 34. So you'll find that the expression that gives us the area of 34 is simply BL minus 6, which is equals to 34. Now, but 6 and 34 are all constants, which means they can be brought together. So we have to take the other side. We shall have BL minus 6 plus 6 is equals to 34 plus 6. So BL is equals to 40. So this is the expression for this particular field when it is complete. That's the expression that we have. So this is a small part of applying. So we can simply apply algebra at any given time. And we realize that in a moment we have pronumerals. They are known pronumerals. Then it simply means that we have applied algebra in real life situation. So we need to observe various rules on this, and it's always good for us to know exactly what we are doing when we are applying algebra. Now, many different situations can be modeled with algebraic expressions. There are very many different situations. Many different situations can be modified with algebraic expression, as we shall be seeing as we look at the questions. So the situation is not limited. There are so many situations, as we shall be seeing in a little while. Also, as you take note of that, you must also know that to apply an expression normally, to apply an expression, pronumerals should be defined clearly. If you are using x, let it be clearly known as x. If it's a, let it be clearly known as a. The known values should be substituted for the pronumerals. Those known values should be substituted for the pronumerals. Now here is the moment we identify that these are the pronumerals, and we know these pronumerals now, we have been assigned these values, we should substitute them correctly. Now let us look at questions touching on various areas of applying algebra. So here, the perimeter of a rectangle is given by the expression 2L plus 2B, where L is the length and B is the breadth. Find the perimeter of the rectangle if L is 4 and B is 7. So first, from the expression that we have, that is 2L plus 2B, we need to identify what are the pronumerals that we have here. And the pronumerals here, we have L, and the other pronumeral is B. So we have got two pronumerals, that is L and B. Having known that, as we were told earlier on, then that the substitution must be done correctly. We've been told that L is 4 and we have B as 7. So in this case, we shall substitute where we have L and rewrite the expression. That will be 2 multiplied by L, and L is 4, plus then 2 multiplied by B, and B is 7. So this one will give us 8 plus 14, And when you have 8 plus 14, it will give us 22 units. That is 22 units. So here we've been able to calculate the exact perimeter of a rectangle given that the expression was 2L plus 2B and L was equal to 4 while B was equals to 7. From the two pronumerals which have been assigned certain the values, we can substitute and we get our answer as 22. Now, similarly, if the perimeter of a rectangle is given by the same expression 2L plus 2B, where L is the length and B is the breadth, we are asked to find the perimeter of a rectangle with breadth 8 centimeters and height of 3 centimeters. So 8 and 3 has been assigned respectively for the values. First, we know that our perimeter is given by 2L plus 2B. That is the general expression for finding the perimeter. Then now, what follows is the substitution. And the substitution that we have been given the values of the breadth and we have been given the values of the height. Now, as we all know, a rectangle has got just two opposite sides as equal, be it called whether they take it as a height or take it as a breadth or so on. Because in this particular situation, then it means that our rectangle might be actually different, might be looking like this. So that we can still find that what we have, we can find that what we have is this is our height, is going to represent our length, and we have our breadth. So it has always opposite sides being equal. So there's nothing wrong when they have used these other values here, but we should always remember that always the rectangle has got 4 sides and 2 opposite sides are always equal. So in that particular case, we shall be able to substitute here 2 multiplied by 8 plus 2 multiplied by 3 centimeters. 2 multiplied by 8 and 2 multiplied by 3 centimeters. So this represents what we have here, and 2 for the general expression. So 2 times 8 is 16 plus 6. This one is supposed to give us 22 centimeters. It is perimeter, so it's just centimeters. Why centimeters? Because the height and breadth were both given in centimeters. So by applying algebra, we can get the exact values or the exact perimeter of various shapes given the expressions for each general formula. Now, let us look at how we can now come up and construct an expression from a word description or a problem description. So we shall look at each step by step. Write expressions for each of the following. The first problem description is a total cost in dollars of 10 bottles if each bottle costs X dollars. So total number of bottles are 10. Cost of each bottle is X dollars. So if we want to find the total cost of all these bottles, we shall take the number of bottles multiplied by the cost of each bottle. That means this one will be 10 times X dollars. X dollars. If you multiply that, you'll find that the total cost will be 10x dollars. So the expression which will show our total cost of all the 10 bottles, if one bottle costs costs X dollars, will simply be 10x, where 10x means 10 times X. So we've been able to have that. So irrespective of the number, the moment the cost of the bottle changes, the expression still remains, and it is valid to give us the total cost of any number of bottles that we shall be asked for. So that is about that, the first one. The second problem, we need to find the total cost So from the same, we write an expression that will show a total cost in dollars of hiring a plumber for N hours. The plumber charges $30 call-out fee plus $60 per hour. So we have got two areas here. There is call-out fee, which is fixed, and this is $30. And then for every 1 hour the plumber will work, we shall pay the plumber $60. So the expression for this, first, at any given, even if the plumber is called upon and if he comes and it doesn't work, we must pay the call-out fee. So to get the total cost of what we shall pay for this plumber, it will be call-out fee plus our rate per hour, and then it could be in hour or hours, depending on how it is. So call-out fee is $30. And then how much does a plumber charge per hour? So per hour, a plumber charges $60. But this plumber is hired for N number of hours. So it will be 60 multiplied by N. So the number of hours multiplied by the rate per hour gives us the amount to be paid for working n number of hours. And then the 30 gives us what we call call-out fee, which is constant and it is fixed. So our final expression becomes 30 plus 60 and 30 plus 60 and this one will be able to calculate at any given time number of hours worked. Every plumber will be easily paid out because it is already given as an expression. Like if he works for 1 hour, it will be 60 times 1 plus 30, which is $90. If he works for 2 hours, it will be 60 multiplied by 2, which is 120, plus 30 gives us $150. So you'll find that n is a variable and it will keep on changing depending on the circumstances. So the expression to complete this particular question is 30 plus 60 n. Now here, again, related to a plumber, we won't find the total cost. This particular case, we won't find the total cost of hiring a plumber. Now, this time not in any hours, but we want in n hours, but this time the plumber charges 60 call-out fee plus $50 per hour. Now, use the expression to find how much an 8-hour job would cost. Use an expression to find how much an 8-hour job would cost. So we find that here we first need to come up with the expression that is required. And the expression we find is that the fixed rate must be maintained. That is the call-out fee. When the call-out fee here is 60, and then plus the rate per hour. Rate per hour is 50, and the number of hours is n. So this one is the general expression for calculating the total cost in dollars of hiring a plumber to work for n hours. But we've been told we want to calculate if and find the cost that we shall use to pay for an 8-hour job. The moment we've been given an 8-hour job, then we ask ourselves, what represents hours? You'll find that what represents hours in this particular case is n. N represents hours. So when we talk of 8-hour job, then we shall replace n with 8 and substitute it accordingly. So we shall rewrite and find that for an 8-hour job, then it will be 60 plus 50 multiplied by 8 hours. And this one will give us 60 plus this one gives us 400. So it gives us a total of $460. So we have the $460 is the cost charged if the plumber would work for only 8 hours. But the general expression if a plumber was to work for n hours is 60 plus 50n. So we've been able to calculate the 8-hour job cost. So you notice that it is very important as long as we have an expression. And this expression, you must know exactly what the pronumerals stand for. Like the question we just finished, the pronumeral Ln simply meant that these are number of working hours. So anytime you have a word description problem, you must identify what are the pronumerals and what are they going to be associated to or to signify. That is very important. So let us look at further questions and see how algebra is applied in a wider society. Now we want to handle it one by one. The triangle we have is an equilateral triangle. When you talk about an equilateral triangle, it's simply a triangle which has all the sides equal and all the angles equal. That's what an equilateral triangle is. So this equilateral triangle measures x by x by x. So first, write an expression that gives the perimeter of this triangle. Expression that gives the perimeter of this triangle. The expression will be for a perimeter, simply for a triangle. We shall find that perimeter is equals to the sum of all the sides, which is x plus x plus x. X 3 times. These are all like terms. We bring them together and you find that our perimeter is equals to 3x. So this is the expression for the perimeter of an equilateral triangle. Now, the second part of this particular question is telling us, using this expression that we have, find the perimeter if x is equals to 12. Using the expression that we have calculated here, that is p is equals to 3x. Use this expression to find the perimeter of this triangle if x is equals to 12. If x is equals to 12. So for that case, we find that p is equals to 3x, but x is equals to 12. So we shall have p is equals to 3 multiplied by 12. P is equals to 36. If 12 was in centimeters, it is just units. 12 is not centimeters, they are units. So if 12 they are units, you just find that our answer is 36 units. So we are able to calculate our perimeter. We are able to express or to give an expression that is general for the perimeter of an equilateral triangle. Now that is about figures and images. We can also look at cost. What can we apply when we are referring to the cost? This question can illustrate that. Now, on the application about the cost, if pencils costs X dollars each, write an expression for the cost of 10 pencils. 10 pencils. So for this, the cost of 10 pencils, we shall find what is the cost of each pencil, then multiply by 10. So it is just the total number of pencils multiplied by the cost of each pencil. So we shall have the cost of 10 pencils is equals to 10 times x, which is just 10x. So the cost will be 10x dollars. So it is easier. So it is easier to find the total cost of pencils given that we have 10x as our expression. Therefore, if one pencil costed x and then 10 pencils would cost the product of x and 10, which is 10x dollars. For the second part, they have introduced packets. So we want to find the total cost of 3 packets of pencils. 3 packets of pencils. But now, each packet contains 5 pencils. So we are looking at the cost of 3 packets. Now here, we shall move step by step and define how much does it cost for 1 packet. And then how much would it cost then for the 3 packets. So to approach this question about the 3 packets of pencil, we shall first find that 1 packet contains 5 pencils. 1 packet contains 5 pencils. And each pencil costs X dollars. Each pencil costs X dollars. Therefore, 1 packet will cost 5 multiplied by X. So the cost of a packet will be 5 multiplied by X, which is 5X dollars. That is the cost of 1 packet. But how many packets are there? There are 3 packets. For the 3 packets, we shall take cost of each packet multiplied by the total number of packets. The total number of packets are 3, and therefore this one will give us 3 packets multiplied by, we have 3 packets multiplied by, so it will be 3 packets multiplied by the cost per packet, which is 5x. So this one becomes 15x. So the cost will be 15x dollars. So if you have 3 packets, then they'll cost $15x. For the last one, we want to find the cost of K pencils. K pencils, this one is not complicated, it's just straightforward. Because we have seen one pencil is X dollars. 2 pencils would be 2X. 3 pencils would be 3X. And so on until we reach a number K. Then if the number of pencils is K, then the cost will be K multiplied by the cost of each pencil. So then it will be the cost of K pencils will be equal to K multiplied by X, which is equal to KX dollars. KX dollars, where K stands for the number of pencils and X stands for the cost of each pencil in dollars. So that is what it is about the cost as we apply algebra. So in this question, part 1, a plumber charges a $50 call-out fee and $100 per hour. Copy and complete the table below. And the table here, this one is number of hours, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 5 hours. So how much would it cost? The total cost would be at when this plumber is simply hired for strictly 1 hour. To fill this table, we first need to come up with a general expression, and then we start substituting. And for a general expression is that the general cost for one plumber, if this plumber is hired for a certain number of hours, will be call-out fee, and call-out fee is 50 plus the much he charges per hour times the number of hours, which is 100. Now this here, this is the general expression that is going to guide us as we fill this table. So if this plumber worked for only 1 hour, if he worked for 1 hour, then we shall substitute n with 1. In this case, we are not using n, we are using t for time. So our expression is 50 plus 100t. So when t is 1 hour, then it means that we shall substitute t and give it 1, such that it will be 50 plus 100 times 1, which is 100. So 50 plus 100, it becomes $150. So it means that if this plumber works for 1 hour, we shall pay a total of $150. If the plumber worked for 2 hours, then t will be substituted with 2 2 times 100 is 200. 200 plus 50 gives us 250. So this particular part will be 250. For the third one, again, t is 3, so this is 350. So we are able to fill this table easily by simply considering the general expression for calculating the total cost that is charged, as well as the call-out fee. So this table is simply filled when we have a general expression, so that we are able to know at any given hour what do we substitute in. Remember, we said while substituting in algebra, when applying algebra, identify the pronumeral and substitute it correctly. That's why I didn't use an n here, because we have been given a t. So t and t, then it allows us to go on with our substitution. Part 2. We want to find out, supposing we have only taken t up to 5. Supposing this particular person, t, was given with 30 hours. We want to substitute t with 30 hours. So then it will mean that 50 plus 100t, but t is equals to 30. So we shall have to substitute and find out if this plumber worked for 30 hours, what are we going to do? How do we approach it? This fixed part of the call-out fee is only once. We don't increase it. It's just fixed once and for all. So it will remain 50. But the variable side of 100t is the one that will change. So we shall have 50 plus 100 multiplied by 30. This is what changes, and this one will give us 3,050. So the total amount to be charged is $3,050. $3,050. So we have been able to find the number of dollars that will be charged if at all the plumber chose to work for 30 hours. If you work for 30 hours, then we shall substitute t with 30, and we shall get $3,050. So generally, this table was simply filled because of a general expression which was extracted from the word problem that we have above, and our general expression, we must maintain it, is 50 plus 100t. So that is it about application of algebra. In our next class, we are going to now look at substitution involving negative numbers and mixed operations. Thank you.